Excellent!
Determining server. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We are back.
Welcome.
We are back. Indeed. Fantastically so.
It's a quick pee break.
Yes, we took a short break. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, though. You're watching Awesome Hardware. That is the show that Kyle and I do every Tuesday. I was about to give Steve's information. No. Every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We've just learned today that is 12:30 a.m. UMT or U. Wait.
UT? UMT?
Wait, damn it.
UDT?
UDT.
UDT.
Dang it.
I don't even know, what does that stand for?
It's like
Universal Daytime Time?
I knew it. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, is what it's. It's like Universal UCT. Oh, I should know this.
Where do you have to live for UDT to be applicable?
It's the universal time. It's like Pacific time is like that time minus 7. Every other time has a that time minus or plus the other times.
Why don't we just all use that UDT then? If it's universal.
Maybe we will someday.
All right.
Maybe we'll move beyond that. Maybe we'll switch from imperial to metric.
Because the fact that we don't use it right now tells me that it's not universal.
That would be yes.
Stupid.
Anyway, though, we've got the point is, though, you should watch our show when it's at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday evenings at twitch.tv/awesomehardware.
Wow. Let's make it the Paul show.
And then we also upload later on to my channel and to Kyle's channel. So if you're watching this on my channel in the future and you didn't watch Kyle's half, go over there and watch his first half of the channel. It'll make everything make much more sense. Mm-hmm. Probably not. Everything still will make little sense, little to no sense. UMT is Universal Mean Time. That's what we're seeing. Which is also GMT, which is Greenwich Time. Greenwich Mean Time.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Because the whole world takes its time from Greenwich. And Greenwich, they say, takes its time from Admiral Boom. Just starting off with a Mary Poppins quote, because, you know.
You're old.
I'm old?
Quoting Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins is classic. It's a classic film. You just don't understand yet because you're not old and
because I'm not old. You've proved my point.
You're not older and addicted to your money and all that good stuff. Other than that, though, Kyle had some announcements, and I'm going to repeat them because I realized I haven't pulled up any of my stories yet.
Oh, thank you.
Kyle has a brand new shirt that he's wearing right now. It's available over on Kyle's store. And you guys are welcome to check that out. Kyle, what's your store called?
AwesomeSauceNetwork.com/store.
All right.
Very appropriate.
I also have shirts with my Paul's Hardware logo on them on my store, which is store.paulshardware.com, so feel free to check that out as well.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're going to continue on with some technological news.
Oh my goodness. I have so many Johnsons to call out.
Johnsons? What?
Jesus. Because remember, so at the beginning of my half of the show, I promised the viewers, everyone in chat, that whoever bought my shirt during the stream, I would give a shout out to.
And then you did nothing.
Because I didn't think anyone would actually buy them.
You know what sucks is that I'm afraid we don't have time in my half of the show for Kyle to do his call outs.
Maslam, Johnson. Just got to go down the line now. Maslam, thank you very much for buying a shirt.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
No,
all right, might as well just fill this in while you're opening up stories and stuff to fill time.
Of course.
Peter Johnson. I got to give a good Johnson. Rest in peace, headphone users. But I did promise that I would do a Johnson for everyone. Peter, thank you very much. Got another one. Oh, stock has been depleted. What?
Are you out of shirts?
I sold out already. No, not of every shirt, just of a certain size.
Okay.
But another order has arrived from Samuel Johnson.
Samuel
Samuel.
Is it?
Thank you, Samuel.
Oh, I thought you just read his whole name and his name was Samuel Johnson.
You see how I just seamlessly integrated that right there?
All of their last names are Johnson.
Someone else bought a shirt, but it wasn't this one. They just bought a different one.
Oh, that's cool.
But still, Paige Johnson to you, my brother.
All right.
Or sister. Paige can be a sister.
Uh-oh.
You never know. Barry Johnson. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Barry. Yeah. Wow. Thank you guys so much. Kevin Burns, thank you. Johnson to everyone. Man, nice. I got to work on my Johnson. I got to say Johnson different ways now because I'm saying it so often. HP. This guy's name is HP. I wonder around.
Okay.
That's a cool name. HP.
Shockwave.
I've always been a fan of you over Dell, if I had to choose. But Johnson, thank you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all you guys representing the shirts and stuff. Thank you guys. Giuseppe Johnson. Johnson, Giuseppe, and Mason Johnson. Y'all get a Johnson. Thank you guys.
That's a lot of shirts.
That's a lot of shirts. Wow, I'm blown away that you guys actually like this shirt so much.
I don't have things set up to get me emails when I sell a shirt.
Really?
Well, no, do I? I do, but they don't go to my email address. It's attached to my phone. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but hey, good job, all you guys.
Yeah.
Nice shirts. Hope you like them.
Cheers.
They're very high quality.
Yes, they are.
Cheers to y'all.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Oh yeah, we should do a beer check since it's the beginning of the second half of the show.
What you got?
I'm drinking some Belching Beaver Brewery milk stout.
Delicious.
Which is quite delicious.
And we got some Mama's Little Yellow Pills. That's actually what it's called. Mama's Little Yellow Pills. It's from Oscar Blues. They also make 1050, which is an amazing imperial stout if you've never tried it.
Oh, nice.
It's like mud. It's like Mississippi mud. Super good stuff.
Mud.
Oh yeah,
delicious.
So what do we got in store for our folks today, Paul?
All right, so we're gonna, as I mentioned a few moments ago, we're gonna dive into some more tech news. We have lower thirds this time around.
All right.
And we're gonna start off with, now I'm getting messages all over my browser that Shockwave has crashed, and I hope that doesn't affect anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why it's using Shockwave for anything. Let's start with some good old game news, though, right? Good old games. No, it's not good old games anymore. It's GOG.
GOG.
Right?
Is that the official name that they're going with now?
I don't know. It's not. I mean, this article on The Verge says it was originally called Good Old Games. I always knew it was called Good Old Games. I didn't know that they had just changed to GOG or GOG.
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 We just call it GOG.
GOG.
GOG sounds weird.
Good old games. But see, GOG, that's the thing. GOG doesn't, like, I want it to save me a syllable. If I'm going to shorten something, I need it to save a syllable. GOG.
Just one syllable.
I don't know. Anyway.
There's a trade-off there.
So Good Old Games, or GOG, has been known for selling older games, but they also have some newer games too, and they do them all DRM-free, and they get a lot of positive feedback for doing that. They are launching GOG Galaxy, or
Gogians of the Galaxy?
GOG Galaxy, or GOGgy.
I wonder if there's any,
which is a gamer-friendly, DRM-free online gaming platform.
All right.
And right now, this is just opened up into a public beta.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like Steam, basically.
Yeah, it's like
it's a game client. Yeah.
So they have a web page here. If you go to gog.com/galaxy, and you can read some of their features. They have like one-click installation. A lot of it is going to be very much to be like, oh, Steam does that.
Yeah. Right.
Backup, copy, download, offline support, rollback, so you can roll back game updates, optional auto updates, in-game features like multiplayer and matching, achievements, game time tracking and stats, crossplay, a game overlay coming soon. I have not installed the beta of this yet.
Neither have I.
But I did read at least one article that said there's a lot of stuff listed. Not all of it works right now since it's still the beta, but hopefully this is the type of thing. They'll be turning on more stuff as time rolls on, and people will be able to access more of those features.
Yeah.
But all in all, really cool. I'm always one for there being competition in the marketplace, and Lord knows that Origin and Uplay get hated on all the time.
Yeah, they do.
For not...
For good reason.
For just having weird functionality or sucking or whatever. And it seems like Good Old Games, or GOG, is the type of company that understands gamers to the point where they could actually come out with something that could, maybe in some small way, for starters, be a Steam competitor.
Well, the good thing about GOG, I hate saying GOG, is that they don't really have any game... They don't have any like IP that they're attached to. Like Uplay, it's Ubisoft, so they're heavily attached to titles like Assassin's Creed and that whole series. And
Steam is Valve, and
exactly. Same with Origin from EA, and you got Battlefield 4, the whole Battlefield series. Like, I don't know, when you introduce IP and money into the equation, it just makes things less beneficial to the gamers, I feel. So that's what worked for Steam. But I don't know, Steam's a special breed because they've also got games like Counter-Strike, Global Offensive and things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Gabe Newell's just on a whole new level. And I think GOG is trying to emulate that kind of business model as opposed to let's just have a client so we can sell our game more. They're just selling the client to sell the client to make it better for gamers. Not to push their own IP.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like out of all the the competitors to Steam, this might be a suitable option.
Yeah, and it's definitely an excellent next step for good old games. It's been something that people have suggested and look forward to for a while. Just a few other notes on it, though, for anyone who might be interested. It's still, they're saying it's the GOG Galaxy is still going to ensure that every game can still be played offline with no DRM, which is one of their big selling points for the games they sold in the first place.
Yeah.
Right now, it requires at least Windows 7 or Mac OS 10, 10.8, but they are working on a Linux version as well.
Yeah.
Originally, they were actually supposed to launch this last year. But they have been in an alpha, like an invite-only alpha for a while, but now it's finally available in open beta. And then the features that we already kind of went over, like friends lists, in-game chat, achievements. They are saying that select games, so it'll depend on the game, but they will support cross-platform multiplayer. So if you, and this already exists right now, you can buy games on Steam that you can also buy on Good Old Games. But if you buy the game on Good Old Games and you have friends who bought the game on Steam, if it's enabled for that game, you could still do multiplaire between them.
But it's going to vary from game to game. Not all games are going to be.
It's a select game, so it's going to depend on the game. But I would imagine that means that the big ones, any good game, any reasonably good game that has multiplayer that is going to be sold on Good Old Games, we'll probably invest in doing that because that's a pretty big selling point. You don't want to be cut off from the Steam community by going with Good Old Games.
Right.
The current library is about 1,000 games. They're adding more all the time, and they are actually now delving into more new games, not just like earlier release games. And they will have, for example, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
When it comes out very soon.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
That's kind of cool.
By the way, Jeff D. Johnson. We got another shirt sale. Woo!
Good Lord.
Jesus. Thank you, Jeff.
What a fantastic idea that was, Kyle.
I know.
It's like,
Jesus.
I'm going to do that next time. That's sweet.
Use the Johnson, man. You need to center your
really
Johnson.
I got to, yes, we got to focus on the Johnson.
Of course.
And, wait, what?
What?
Okay. Moving right along, though, story number 2 here. I have several news stories
Of
today.
course.
All right, so AMD, according to Fudzilla, has silently cut the price of the Radeon R9 285. And there's a picture of AMD headquarters. And that's about it right now. Now, this is actually a little bit more of an international story from after that I understood this after reading it. Because they're talking about the price for the R9 285 has been cut from about 199 euros to about 180 euros.
Okay.
About a 10% discount. And what I learned by punching 180 euros into Google is that equals $201.
44 cents.
You just did that.
I just did it.
Okay. Last time I did an international currency exchange, I just speculated wildly, and a few people were upset with me. That's okay though. So about 180 euros or $200 US. It has actually been $200 in the US. I mean, depending. Sometimes it fluctuates and goes up to 220, 230.
Right.
But still, that makes it less than the GTX 960. And the idea here, and it's probably very true, is that they are lowering the price to help clear out inventory to make room for the 300 series when it launches, which it should soon.
Yes.
We still don't know exactly when. We're still expecting. I don't know. It's May now.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I don't know when that happens.
Weird.
But we're still expecting Computex, I guess, for the 300 series.
Yeah.
We've heard nothing new.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to point out, I just want to mention that I recently purchased an R9 280.
Okay.
For $150 after mail-in rebate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Off a Newegg. I was very happy about that purchase.
Oh, okay.
It's going in an upcoming video. I'm not going to reveal anything, but I was really happy with that price.
It's very, very mysterious.
That's probably the most performance I've ever gotten out of that much money.
That is, yeah, for 150?
Yeah. 280.
Yeah, for an R9 280. That's a good deal.
Yeah. So.
Consider the R9 280 is an R9 is a 7950.
Yeah.
Which when at launch was $450, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yep.
Good job, Kyle.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. I got a couple more news stories here.
Cool.
This one might be interested to you if you're like Kyle and you're interested in purchasing a graphics card soon, although this is on the NVIDIA side.
Sure.
not the AMD side.
That's cool.
We have a new GeForce bundle.
All right.
I
like the bundles.
AMD had the crazy never settle bundles last year.
Those were insane.
And they kind of I feel like NVIDIA was kind of slow to respond.
Yeah.
But now they've had some that they've come around with. So guys, if you're looking at a graphics card purchase, this might actually influence you because these are some nice add-ons. So if you buy a GeForce graphics card starting now, you get either Witcher 3 Wild Hunt or Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and Batman Arkham Knight. Neither of these games are released yet. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is supposed to release on May 19th in a couple weeks. Batman Arkham Knight is arriving June 23rd, so a little over a month for that one, or a month and a half.
Wait, if you scroll up, it looked like they were saying at the very top there, it says...
I don't know what
it says, and receive download codes for both Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
For both, yes.
And,
depending on what graphics card. I was getting to that.
Oh,
I'm almost there.
Because I heard you say either.
I'm scrolling slowly down to this little chart here, which explains exactly what you can get. If you purchase a GTX 970 or a GTX 980, then you get both. Yes.
Nice.
If you get a 960, you still get Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, and that's a nice add-on for a 960, which you can get for $200.
Yeah.
That's a $50 game on top of that. I think that's not bad for a new AAA title. And then there's a picture here and stuff. There was one comment down here at the bottom that I did want to point out to you guys. Mobile GPUs included in the promotion will only receive download codes if the seller of the notebook is participating in the 2 times the adventure offer. So, I totally skipped over the mobile ones. 980M and 970M, the mobile GPUs are also eligible for Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt.
Oh, that's really cool.
But if you're about to buy a gaming laptop and you're interested in this, make sure that the vendor you buy from is participating in this 2 times the adventure offer.
Oh, I see.
To make sure that you can actually get that
deal,
that game.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of folks are excited about that game. I will be honest, I haven't played many of the Witcher games.
Neither have I.
They fall into that category of games I've heard good things about, but it's just I've never actually kind of dove in. I never even actually had them for benchmarking.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would want them for, actually, is for benchmarking.
I want to get Witcher 3 for benchmarking. I'm probably going to get that for benchmarking. Right. And then maybe I'll play the games too. Johnson!
By the way, speaking of which, James Johnson!
You got another one?
Johnson, James!
Goodness.
Oh my goodness. Everyone who's bought a shirt, their last name is officially Johnson.
Can I even log into my store?
Brilliant.
And see if anyone's bought.
Thank you, James. I appreciate your order.
I can't.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got.
I have my passwords.
We've got another low-level stock. I should have bought more shirts. They are selling out fast. I wasn't going to preface this because it wasn't true at the beginning of the stream, but they are running out. Like literally, if you're going to buy a shirt, buy it now.
Normally, you throw that out there, and it's like you're not even being.
Oh, Dean Smiley. We played GTA 5 with that guy.
Up, Dean?
Gene, you get a Johnson.
Gene or Dean?
Dean.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Nice, Dean.
Thank you, Dean.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
Okay. I have. Wait. What do I have? I have one more news story. Probably.
Can we get a soundboard that has like a Johnson mixer? Johnson.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes,
right.
we can.
Okay.
You set that up.
All right.
First, let's do an icon for our Twitch channel. let's get that. Let's get that down.
Priorities.
That would be cool to have.
Priorities.
All right, one last story here. Probably won't be of much interest to many people here, but this is a story from the Inquirer about the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge handsets plagued by Wi-Fi and battery issues. So some bad news for Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge owners. Wi-Fi stability issues and inability to connect. Issues with the battery have been reported inside the Galaxy S, noting that the smartphone struggles to make it through the entire day on a single charge. Now, there's a direct quote here from Samsung in this article. I'm just going to pull that up because the pictures are interesting. So Samsung has admitted that the Galaxy S6 and Galaxy S6 Edge are suffering performance problems due to a RAM management fault.
Oh, interesting.
So even though the S6 and S6 Edge have 3 gigs of DDR4 memory, the problem is that there's only about 200 to 400 megs of that memory left at any given time.
Okay.
So of the three, it's almost like you bought a GTX 970.
You've got 3.5, really.
Oh, poor NVIDIA. They're never going to.
So you're saying you only have that much?
Only have that left. So
left. Okay.
So there's some memory holes basically. Too much memory being used by default applications.
Right.
So it's using up to 2.5 gigs of its built-in memory for basic tasks. Causing the handset to stutter, in particular when using the onboard Chrome web browser. Unfortunately, nobody that we know actually has a Galaxy S6 or S6 Edge.
Otherwise, I do.
You do?
Yep.
Oh.
The one that you dropped last week.
I had no idea when I was pulling the story up that this might even affect you.
It's right here.
That's a shame.
I haven't experienced any kind of stuttering or slowdown from using Chrome.
Okay.
You're talking about the Chrome app.
It's saying Chrome is a particular
RAM eater?
RAM eater, but it's not the only one. It's just saying some of the low level stuff that's going on, just operating system level stuff.
For the longest time, I didn't experience any kind of slowdown with this phone until I was testing it because I did a review on it recently, and I opened up like 20 different apps, and then it started to slow down, scrolling through web pages and stuff. It's like, all right, close all those. It's running perfectly fine. Battery life on the S6 isn't great. I will admit to that. But it's not to the point where I would actually have to contact Samsung and be like, hey, there's something defectively wrong with your phone.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, can you get through a day without having to freak out towards the end of the day? That's what it is for me.
I can, because I'm not a power user. I'm not a huge Android freak power user.
You can see how going crazy with it. Like for me, it's like I hate getting to that point where I'm at the end of the day and I'm like, crap, I have like 4% left, 3% left. I need to plug my phone in now or it's going to turn off. And then I have to charge it enough to turn it back on in order for my alarm to go off in the morning.
That rarely happens with me.
That's what I hate.
Yeah. I browse Twitter pretty frequently on my phone. I do have it set to auto brightness. I think that saves a lot of power. Before I just had it maxed out brightness or 75% brightness all the time. But being indoors and stuff and low lighting and whatnot, it actually has been pretty good. So it's not great battery life, but I don't know. It's not terrible.
Kyle, we have a question from Guinea Pirate. He wants to buy your shirt. And what size are you wearing right now? It's probably a medium.
I'm wearing a medium.
Kyle's wearing a medium.
I weigh about 155 to 160 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm 5'7", so if that gives you any kind of indication of what size you might need. Some mediums that I go to, stores to buy mediums, are too small for me. But this medium fits, so they run a little bit large, but not by much.
Yeah.
If you're questioning, I'm usually medium, but I'm not sure, medium's probably good. And by the way, James, another James? Another James?
Big James? James Johnson.
No, I had Dean and I had James, but... No, just another Johnson. Just
Johnson.
throw another Johnson out there.
Throw the Johnsons all
You guys keep buying shirts. This is awesome. Right. Thank you, guys.
I have one last news story.
Oh, yeah.
Just a short one to bring up here real quick before we move on.
All right.
Self-destructing virus kills off PCs. And that is all we have to discuss for the news segment. That is it.
Okay.
Did you want some?
That's it.
Some details on that story.
I would assume
self-destructing virus.
I would hope so. You talked it up all nice and heavy.
I was trying to joke with you guys. All right. This is an interesting story. This is one of those headlines that looks pretty disastrous. All right. So this is malware. It's called Rombertic.
Yep.
Rombertic. You acquire it through downloading an attachment from an email, so it doesn't seem like it has particularly scurrilous ways of infecting your system.
Okay.
Unless you're doing something that's not really smart.
Yeah.
It can be attached to emails claiming they have to do with Microsoft support. So bear that in mind.
Okay.
This is malware, but it has some behavior that's very not normal for malware. Specifically in that it seems to run processes that sort of keep an eye out for if it's being detected. Yeah. If people see that it's there and are trying to remove it, it starts to do all this dastardly stuff like deleting the master boot record on your hard drive.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
that's serious.
Yeah. So the problem with this malware is that it seems to be fairly aggressive, and that it's got one of those it sets up a flag if it's just sitting there doing its thing. It does, it basically just tries to scrape data entered in web forms.
Yeah.
But if it's I've been found, it tries to do stuff to like just disable the computer it's on.
So it's like a self-aware PC virus?
To some...
freaks out when it's been caught?
That might be a slightly exaggerated way of putting it, but
that's,
sure.
That's scary.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Should be...
That's a little scary.
Should be wary of it,
Everyone should be wary of Rumbertick. But yeah,
Christ.
I found that towards the end. All right, let's move on to my next segment.
All right.
It's a brand new segment. I think people are going to be excited about this segment.
Oh, yeah? I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about because Kyle made the lower thirds.
I did make the lower thirds. I forgot what it is.
Really?
Yeah, show it to me.
This is SPORTSTECH.
Oh, yeah.
SPORTSTECH.
The best lower thirds ever.
Yes. Now, if you guys watch the show and you're into tech and computers and stuff, you might not be into sports, or maybe you are. I mean, some people are into sports, some people aren't. Kyle and I aren't like huge sports people, but there was sort of a flurry of things this past week that made me think, I'm going to make a new segment. I call it SPORTSTECH, and these are sports stories that have something to do with technology.
Right.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, so question for you guys out there. Did any of y'all watch the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight?
I was too broke at the time. Yeah.
Well, that is interesting that you were too broke, Kyle, because it was $100 to watch it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I know.
And even more if you owned a small business establishment or something like that. Ooh. But I was interested in the fight. It was one of those things where it's like, there's just so much hype around it. There's so many people talking about it and all this kind of thing. It's hard to ignore. And my wife is also originally from the Philippines. She's Filipino. Yeah, right. And so I'm kind of tied into this Filipino community to some degree. And Pacquiao's like a god over there. It was a Sunday morning that the fight was happening over there, and I was going through Twitter and I was seeing all these pictures of just hordes of people crowded around like windows, showing the fight and everything. There were 5 news stations over there that showed it for free to the entire nation. Yeah, I'm sure they were all very disappointed when Pacquiao lost, but it was an interesting fight from what I gathered. But what did I gather?
What did you gather?
Because I didn't watch the fight. I didn't order the fight. Okay. I did what lots of people did, and I kind of followed the fight.
Right. On Twitter or various other
Well, I'll tell you
outlets.
what I did. Okay. So I had up on the TV in there was a live blog that was going on. And this was just something that Yahoo had going, hey, we have a couple reporters there, and they're just blogging live. So they're posting little micro things, which wasn't that interesting to watch. It was Mayweather lands a left or whatever, and it's okay. And then a minute later, it's Pacquiao with a flurry, some were blocked. And it's difficult to follow along that way, but I could kind of follow along with what round it was and how that was going. Yeah. But what I was doing was I was on Twitter. And on Twitter, people were at random times recording the screen and posting little 15 to 30 second clips. Okay. So some of the stuff that I saw being talked about on the live blog, I'd be able to pull up and see some bits. That Pacquiao had this left that they showed in a replay, right? Hitting Mayweather. Mayweather's hits him in the face. Yeah. And that was rebroadcast many times over there. Sure. But what lots of people were actually doing was they were using they were using the live streaming services that are now available. So Periscope, and Meerkat.
Oh yes.
Periscope is
these are people that were Apple at the event that were streaming it.
Well, not everyone. A lot of people were just live streaming using Periscope and just recording their TVs and live streaming for other people. Down here actually is this dude, Steven Johnson.
Johnson. Oh yeah.
Johnson, who was periscoping at the fight, and you can tell he was in the stands here. Yeah. And he was just live streaming that stuff. So Periscope and Meerkat, if you guys aren't already familiar with it, are live streaming, they're
mobile streaming.
Yeah, it's I can take my phone, set up a live stream, and I can just start streaming.
It's like Twitch for your phone.
Yeah, it's like Twitch for your phone, and you just tweet it out, and then people can pop in and watch. And I'm I don't know, I'm kind of watching this from the side, and I'm I don't know if that's interesting to me or not.
It's going to be interesting, though. Yeah. It's not now, but it's going to be the next thing.
Yeah, so lots of people are jumping on this, but the reason I bring it up now is for a fight like this, especially something that is behind a paywall, which this one most definitely was. Yeah. if you didn't have a way of watching it, this was a way that a lot of people were actually able to jump in and watch.
Yeah.
There was reported that there were 10,000 viewers on one stream.
Wow.
Of this going on, just watching the fight.
And the guy was filming it from his phone.
And the guy's just using his phone and
Yeah.
pointing it at the TV and rebroadcasting what the TV is showing. Now,
Nuts.
Twitter itself said that it received 66 reports from rights holders during the fight, and that it took down all 30 streams that were actively broadcasting.
Okay.
So Twitter supposedly did take some action, but I can say that I kind of followed the fight.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay pay-per-view for anything.
Yeah.
And granted, I wasn't watching the live streams, although at the very end of the fight, there was a dude who was just streaming it live on YouTube. Okay. And I picked it up on the Twitter stream because I was just following the Mayweather-Pacquiao hashtags.
Right.
And suddenly I started seeing, like, there were lots of people who were, like, using the hashtag and just posting random YouTube videos that they wanted people to watch.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing this one pop up, and I was like, maybe this one's legit. So I clicked in it, and this guy was just straight up the pay-per-view stream back onto streaming on his YouTube. And so I watched the very end of the last round, and I watched the results when they.
How did the fight end? Because I know that Mayweather won, but how did it? It didn't end in a knockout, I'm guessing, right?
No,
it was just a
so
technical.
Mayweather is a very
defensive.
I don't want to get too much into actual sports here. Mayweather is a very technical fighter, and he wins fights by sort of taking the rules of boxing. And he's a very good fighter. Don't no one get me wrong about that.
Yeah.
But he uses the rules of boxing to win rounds.
Right.
So the rules of boxing are, you get hits in, right, or you can block hits.
Right.
And like hits that connect are worth more points, so to speak, in the judge's eyes than hits that don't connect.
Sure.
So he makes himself very, very difficult to hit.
Okay.
And then he gets his hit in. So if you look at Pacquiao's results at the end of the fight, Pacquiao had lots of punches thrown, but a lot fewer percentage of them hit.
Okay.
Mayweather had a lot fewer punches thrown, but more of them made contact. And if you look at, like, each round has a score, and if you look at the overall scores from all the rounds, Mayweather just had a better score than Pacquiao when it was all over.
Gotcha.
But there were no knockdowns the entire fight, as far as I know.
Yeah.
No KO, no nothing like that. It was a win by decision, and after 12 rounds, it was over. So a lot of people were like, that was boring. Like, no one, like, the most crazy thing that happened was, like, Mayweather's lip started bleeding at one point.
Right.
Anyway.
That's what I heard at the end of the fight after it happened, was that it felt more like a game of chess than it did a boxing match.
And
because
if you
it wasn't just like brawl.
And if you look at it without, like, the need for, like, someone must
violence,
fall and die, whatever.
Of course.
Technically, Mayweather plays the game really well within the rules of boxing, and that's why has such a crazy good record. But a lot of people complain that his fights aren't very interesting. But anyway, we're getting off topic from the tech side of this, which is that people were streaming it live and that kind of thing, and that it was an interesting.
It changes the way we view media.
And it was the first fight or something of this caliber that's come along since these streaming services have kind of come into place.
Right.
And it's interesting to see for something like this. For me, like, it was much more worth it to kind of follow along briefly the fight, getting little bits and pieces here and there. Granted, I'm not a crazy boxing fan or anything like that.
Sure.
But $100 versus that, like, I was fine with it.
Oh yeah, of course. I feel like you almost get an equal amount, if not more, from that sort of viewing experience.
Okay, one more story to talk about in this.
By the way, really quick before you start off, Christopher Johnson. Oh, so excited!
I hope you're not killing too many people's ears.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
That's why we have the soundboard now.
I'm sorry.
You got another one?
Not only is there Christopher, but we got Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson and Christopher Johnson.
Gnarly.
Big happy family.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
The big Johnson family.
Whoop whoop.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so one more little story here in the sports tech. Wait, that's what it's called, right? Sports tech, yeah. All right.
Sports tech.
New segment. I got to keep on top of things. So if you guys didn't follow this, this is like from almost a week ago. Heroes of the Dorm is an event that Blizzard put on. It's for their Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA, League of Legends type game. And this was a event that was held amongst colleges, and colleges put forth teams, and they went and played.
Yeah.
And basically the finals of it, they actually broadcast on ESPN, well, ESPN2, which you might be looking and be like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. An esports competition that was broadcast on ESPN2. Now, if there's any controversy here, it's from this dude. Oh, wait, I think I already have this up. This dude is Colin Cowherd, and he's an ESPN like person who talks on ESPN or whatever. He also has a radio show, and he went on the radio show and he said some stupid stuff. The main quote that keeps getting posted over and over again is, "Here's what's going to get me off the air. If I'm ever forced to cover guys playing video games, I will retire and move to a rural fishing village and sell bait. You want me out, demand video game tournaments on ESPN," because that's what appeared on ESPN2 yesterday.
What an old hag.
Yeah, well, before anyone gets upset by this, I want to point out that this guy kind of makes a lot of his career out of pissing people off. He's a blowhard. He is described,
as a
actually
dick?
This article does a very good job of talking about it. He's a longtime pot stirrer in the sports world, known much for his fringe, borderline racist statements, as much as he's known for his ability to cover sports. He's a huckster. Colin Cowherd is the loudest guy in the room, and he's routinely the most uninformed person there too. So
the perfect combination.
So yeah, I don't want to draw too much attention to him or anything like that. Sure. But his comments did raise the ire of some people online, and there was a lot of Twitter battles going on about people saying like he's stupid or whatever, or people on his side of the camp being like, yeah, ESPN shouldn't show video games,
right?
And I guess the main reason I want to bring it up, other than that it's like mildly sports related and it fit very well into my sports tech segment, is that I wanted to sort of get into like just it's a question for me. It's ESPN, right?
Yeah.
Now, never mind that the E in ESPN stands for entertainment, but like this was brought up. Esports, video games, does the realm of that also kind of overlap with the realm of, say, sports in general, and especially when it comes to like sports as entertainment, because sports as entertainment is big business.
Right.
Not only do you have ESPN, but you have other companies that are profiting off of sports as entertainment, most namely on the other side of the fence, I'd say Twitch.
Right.
Which is like, I've been watching a lot of StarCraft 2 actually on Twitch lately. Yeah. And I find it fascinating. I love watching it. Yeah. StarCraft 2 matches to me, I'm amazed by what those guys are able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So it boils down to the definition of what is a sport, right? Because if you look at these guys who are playing Heroes of the Storm or StarCraft 2, there are so many similarities between these two guys duking it out on their PCs versus these two teams duking it out on the football field. There's so many things in common. The only thing that might not be the same is the physical aspect of it. Okay. You've got two guys who aren't actually coming into physical contact with each other. They're on their individual devices. There's technology involved versus, the more nitty-gritty, like, your elbow grease type thing, getting in the dirt and physically coming into contact with each other with an actual sport. But other than that, the competition is there. The skill and the strategy is all there. What defines a sport? And if we can log down a definition on that, that'll let us know, is esports an actual sport? Can it be?
That is a very good question. And I've had kind of a similar debate with myself when I've seen ESPN broadcasts of, say, other kind of borderline sports, non-sports stuff. Like they have their lumberjack competitions, right? With like guys cutting wood with chainsaws and stuff like that. And you're like, well, that's sort of a sport. I guess it's physical in some ways. Or like the one that really comes to mind for me is like poker. Like World Series of Poker events. I mean, if you're showing that, which they do a lot, especially when like the top 3 sports are out of season. Right. Like you see World Series of Poker and other derivatives of poker tournaments all over the place. Right. And granted, they're borderline sports, but I don't see the same type of backlash against something like that.
Exactly. So, you know what? You just cued me into some idea that I just had. Like,
this overlaps with the next segment. So
okay, I just want to make a note right here, a mental note, that if you could engage in an activity with someone else as a competitor, and by the end of it, if that person loses for whatever reason, and you are in the capacity of saying, "Thanks for being a good sport," if you can say that line to someone else by the end of that activity, it's a sport. If you can use the line, "Think you were a good sport," or "You were a bad sport," the fact that you have the word sport in there makes it a sport. I'm sorry.
That's your determining factor?
That's my determining factor. If that line makes sense in any capacity, it's a sport.
What if, like, my dad asked me to take out the trash?
It has to be.
And I did
it
it
has to be
without
competitive
complaining.
between two and.
And I did it without complaining and be like, "Hey, you're a good sport about that." Like
that is a sport.
Trash
binning. Trash binning is a national sport.
You know what this needs to really determine?
What's that?
What's going on?
Sword fight.
You know what I think is
sword fight?
I think my chat here actually stopped.
Hold on, really quick.
Back.
Daniel Johnson. I had to whisper that one.
Oh, you did?
Johnson. Yeah, because everyone was complaining that I was just blowing their ears out, so I promised to quiet Johnson for the next person.
You were yelling Johnson
Daniel,
several times. All right, I had to reload.
You are a good sport.
I had to reload the chat here.
Daniel.
All right, we are moving.
I love you, Daniel.
We are moving. All right, chat's working again. What's next? What's next you want to know?
Hold on, Christopher Johnson.
This is the third segment. My third segment.
Do we have a lower thirds?
That's sword fight.
We do.
Oh, yeah. It's a classic sword fight lower thirds.
Thank God it's a banana and a popsicle.
Put together.
Not something else.
All right, so sword fight, and as I already mentioned, the sword fight is going to be is a crossover.
Okay.
With the sports tech that we were just talking about. So we were just talking about esports, right? So here's my sword fight question. I should explain how sword fight works. Maybe you guys have never seen sword fight. So in sword fight, Kyle and I each take opposing sides of a controversial topic, and also you guys get to participate because I have a straw poll, and you guys will get to go and post what your thoughts on the straw poll are. Now, you can vote on the straw poll right off the bat, or you can wait and kind of listen to what Kyle and I say, and maybe we'll sway your opinion one way or the other. That's kind of the idea. So I'm going to post the straw poll in chat here for you folks.
Okay.
And then I'm going to jump right over here to it so you guys can also see. So esports, right? Should esports be grouped with all sports? And I'm talking mainly from like a marketing kind of standpoint here, the way that the esports are kind of grouped up and presented to people who are interested in them. Because esports, you're not going to have esports without an audience for esports.
Right.
So this is kind of what this is about. So should esports be grouped with all sports and like put on ESPN or something like that? Or should esports make their own way and have their own kind of bubble that they live in? And there's just two responses here. You got your group up, yes, join ESPN, and you know there's maybe some benefits there, or that esports should kind of forge their own path with it. And since this is the first question, Kyle, you get to choose which side you want to take here.
Okay, I'm gonna say that it should be grouped with all sports.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll come back to this question in just a moment, and we'll see what you guys think about it as well.
All right.
In the meantime, though, do you want to go first? Do you want to argue?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right.
Like I said, anything that ends with "thanks for being a good sport" is a sport. That doesn't matter. There's just a hands-down universal truth to all things. I think, you know, just because it's new and it's something that we haven't seen before being advertised on a traditional sports network doesn't make it not a sport. Doesn't discredit it as being a sport. It has all of the other factors, as I was mentioning earlier. It's competitive. There's strategy involved. There's skill involved. It takes preparation to master it. Not anyone can do it. There is a team of amateurs and a team of professionals in this arena, just like there are in actual sports. There are so many similarities here. There are people who do this professionally that are sponsored, just as people who play professional sports are. I can't see really any drastic difference to discredit it as being an actual sport, other than unless your criteria is that there has to be some kind of physical interaction between the players. I mean, is that really what makes it a sport? Is the physical interaction, or is it all the other things, all the other little characteristics about it that really make it a competitive event when you're watching two people or two teams duke it out? I don't know. I feel like there's way more. It has much more in common with a sport than it does have not in common with it, if that makes sense. I could have phrased that better, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. You guys agree with me, right?
So
tell me why I'm wrong.
So I'm going to take a weird stance here for Sword Fight, and I'm going to say you're right about most of the things that you said. I would agree with you.
Everything.
That esports does have the qualifications of sports. Now, I think what it comes down to is sports and like what is sports and what's not sports. And the argument is the difference between big muscles and small muscles, right?
Okay.
Because most of the sports that we know as sports, your football or your baseball or your football, soccer, baseball, American football.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? Basketball.
Hockey.
Hockey.
Golf. Freaking golf?
Yeah, for
golf's
golf.
a sport. There's
Well,
no interaction there. Okay.
But here's what you're looking at. You're looking at large muscles that you need to like push someone around or to like take a ball and throw it far or something like that. Down to the difference between something like esports. You're still dealing with muscles and how well you control those muscles in order to accomplish a task. So in this way, I think I would agree with you that that esports do deserve to be at least viewed with the same amount of respect that, say, a larger scale sport might. However, I have to strongly disagree with you about esports going on to ESPN simply because looking at the vitriol and the negativity that was spilled just over the last week over this incident, I don't think it is the right audience for that. And I don't think people who are watching ESPN are ready to just take on the acceptance of something like esports. It's too vastly different. And there's too much, even though you and I both agree that these are it requires skill and finesse and precision. It's not something that somebody watching ESPN looks at as like, oh, I want to watch that. Plus, esports are like, they're very specific. You can't take most people who have never watched StarCraft and sit them down and have them watch StarCraft and have any sort of appreciation for what's going on there and the level of skill that's involved and what 200 actions per minute means,
right,
or something like that. So for that, I think it's just too diverse. And I have to go with what I put in the question here is that we already have a massive, crazy good start with sites like Twitch TV and Hitbox. Live streaming services already tied in with the sort of computer ecosystem that's already in there for people to do live streaming. And I say keep building the audiences on those. Cable TV is dead, and we should all be cord cutters, and ESPN's stupid.
Sweet.
Okay, let's see what you guys thought, though. I think.
What did they think?
I'm going to go ahead and vote here since I don't always vote. Gaming isn't sports. Wow, this is a close one.
Yeah.
So we had 55 votes on my side.
Yep.
Gaming isn't sports, and the esports already has a better platform on the internet. But we still had 35 sports that said group them up with ESPN. Now, as we almost always say when we're doing Sword Fight, neither of us really hold such disparate opinions, and I could see benefits on either side. I don't know. I could see like an ESPN gaming offshoot or something like that happening.
ESPN 3.
Like it has to be niche. It's like same thing with a YouTube channel. You can't take a YouTube channel that's been doing the same thing for a while and suddenly change it up. But you could have YouTube channel B that's focused on that, and then people go there for that type of thing.
Exactly.
So I think that'd be a good way to do it. Anyway, let's move on to the second story.
All right.
Well, this one has a little bit of story. We're still in Sword Fight here, but this one has a bit of pretext to it.
Sweet.
Joss Whedon has quit Twitter.
Just completely
he
deactivated
deleted his account. He is a very active Twitterer, and he has just gone and deleted his account.
Really?
Following criticism of Age of Ultron, which came in a lot of different forms. This was like the best example of it that I saw. Was a Patton Oswalt? Oh wait, no, that's not what I was trying to click.
What are you doing?
This one. I'm center clicking it. So this is somebody put together a montage of all the negativity that Joss Whedon had to suffer through, just negative comments and all that kind of thing. Anyway, there is a wait, I'm showing everyone the question too. There's a serious side to this, and I'll address that quickly, which is that cyberbullying is stupid, and it shouldn't be encouraged or supported in any way.
Agreed.
And nobody should be engaging in that. Telling people they're dumb online as an anonymous person is bad, and no one should do it. And even if it makes you feel better about yourself, it's hollow.
You're dumb.
And that's all there is. But I only say that because I know cyberbullying is a major issue, but the actual question that we're going to sword fight about here is a little bit more lighthearted, which is why will you quit Twitter, Kyle? Because both of us are on Twitter, and we have to assume that all things must end at some point, right? So the idea here is I've listed a few different options, and we're going to choose which option will be the reason that causes either Kyle or I to quit Twitter. To quit Twitter, and we'll argue for that. So here's our options.
All right.
Oh wait, I need to post this link in chat too. Hold on.
Do we have to? Do you and I choose from one of the predetermined answers here?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I guess you could make up something, but that would be unfair to the people who are voting on this.
True.
On this chart.
We're all in it together. Okay.
So the options, just to let you guys know, is a sex or a drug scandal. A negative comment about my appearance, which might cause any of us to quit.
Sure.
Jerry or Jay.
Fair enough.
After winning Twitter, which is possible if you can hit 100 million followers, or promoted tweets.
Oh, man. Can I check all of them?
Can you check all of them? No, I didn't allow multiple options on this one.
Damn it. I would have to say promoted tweets. Me personally, I hate promoted tweets.
All right, Kyle's gonna Kyle's gonna argue for promoted tweets.
Follow you. Why am I reading your shit?
And I will argue for Jerry or Jay. That's gonna be my reason. All right, so let's make an argument here. You guys go ahead and vote and let us know what your reason for quitting Twitter would be.
Okay.
In the future. In the meantime, do you want me to go first since you went first time? All right, so my reason for quitting is gonna be Jerry or Jay. There's two reasons. One is Jerry, one is Jay. Now the reason for Jerry making me quit Twitter is the poop naps. Really, it comes down to the poop naps.
Poop naps.
Jerry, I know you got to make your poop naps.
Yeah.
They're just quaint as hell. Whenever you do them, and they're in different locations.
Yep.
And everything, but it's just there's a certain point where I'm like, you know what? I didn't need to know that Jerry just took a shit.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't what I was going to Twitter for, and I don't want to mute Jerry. I don't want to mute the poop naps because there's lots of other good stuff in there.
This is what Miley Cyrus was tweeting about like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Was her shits.
Now
Jerry's taking over.
So that's why Jerry's making me quit. Jay, on the other hand, is for a much different reason.
Yeah. And
it is simply because Jay's, like, if you look at Jay's Twitter feed, one is he goes in and he like hates on the haters.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing.
I like that.
And two is that he's constantly posting the videos he's making.
Yeah, screw him.
It's just like, you keep making all these videos, and I can't make that many videos that you're making.
No.
And ultimately it leads to depression and
hatred.
Quitting Twitter. No, not hatred. Not hatred. I don't hate him for it.
Hashtag Jay's a dickhole.
He's just being himself, but it's just,
Jay's a dickhole.
Jay's a dickhole.
Jay.
Anyway, but Kyle, promoted tweets?
Promoted tweets are the worst thing ever on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like, I follow people, right? I follow you. I follow Jay. I follow Jerry.
Everyone should follow me.
I follow people, and I get updates from you guys. And it's like, yeah, I totally am cool that, you did your side panel window mod because I followed you. I wanted to know about that thing you were doing. But then when, like, Kim Kardashian pops up on my feed, and it's like, I'm in a new mobile app game now. I'm like, what? Like, it rocks my world. Like, it blows my mind. I'm like, why am I learning about this information that I cannot unlearn now, that I'm now spending time thinking about?
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling ever. Like, I feel like I'm being invaded. I feel like my Twitter account is being hacked every day because of promoted tweets.
Okay.
So screw them.
It's a very valid argument.
That's why I quit Twitter.
I feel like these are both reasons why we will quit Twitter. But let's see why you guys would quit Twitter. Meanwhile,
let's see.
Can I chat? I can chat
What does
again.
the poll read?
Chat keeps booting me out of stupid reasons.
Stupid
times.
chat.
All right.
Chat. Stupid.
Let's go back over here and check out the results.
Yeah.
Jerry and Jay. I was 2 for 2 today. Jerry and Jay. All right, we're gonna have to talk to them. We'll see what
Brilliant.
we can do.
We'll help them out.
We don't really want to deal with that kind of mass exodus. All right, know what we didn't do? You know what we completely forgot to do was tell people that the last segment is always Q&A. The last segment is always Q&A.
Yes.
So in order for us to give you the A, we need you to give us the Q. Does Is that?
So, I guess, yeah. I mean, sure.
We need that cue.
Some cues. Yeah.
So send us your cues either by tweeting to us, and our Twitter hashtag should be right around there.
And discover our A's.
Or we'll also answer some questions from Twitch chat.
Yes.
And we're just gonna hang out here until.
Just go ahead and
we have
blow
to pee again.
Just
I
blow
think
up the
that's
chat. Blow up the Twitter chat with any kind of questions.
Yeah.
It could be the stupidest question ever. It doesn't have to be technical if you can't think of something smart enough to ask. It could literally be anything personal or anything, you know.
Oh, that is Ryan Whalian.
Yeah.
Is pointing out right now that it's Cinco de freaking Mayo right now. You know what? I'm surprised I don't hear any music going on out here. There's usually parties going on. Yes, today is the 5th. Although your laptop says it's the 6th. Why does your laptop
I don't know, it's wrong.
Say it's 7:47 p.m.
I don't know.
On the 6th.
It also says my username is Jimmy, so there's
What?
There's a lot of things wrong with this.
Oh, I know why that happened. Yeah, okay, all right, wait. I'm looking for questions. Tornado 92, I can't answer that question, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's inappropriate.
What?
You need that Q. I need that Q. Is Q a name for a drug? Like E?
No. Not that
Like,
why are you looking at me?
Because somebody said you need that Q, I'll call my drug dealer, but I didn't know what that was. What is a good external hard drive enclosure?
Oh, the Q, the question, the Q&A. Q&A.
Yeah.
The Q.
Oh, I forgot to do my lower thirds.
That's what he was talking about.
We're doing Q&A now, guys.
Yeah, come on.
There we go.
Come on.
A good external hard drive enclosure.
Ooh.
Wow, I haven't like had to go and get an external hard drive enclosure for a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too.
I have a toaster.
Yeah, you do.
And like which is an external. No, mine's a weird brand.
It's not like
I just got it because it was USB 3. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not an IC dock.
IC dock's a good brand though.
The toaster is just like we call them toasters. It's like an external 3.5-inch drive. Like you can just drop the drive straight in. Usually they accept 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch drives. Ever since I got one of those, there hasn't been a time where I'm like, I need another external drive. Because I have like a few external like 2.5-inch drives that, you know, came all together. Like I've got a WD that are USB 3, so I use those if I need like mass storage to move around. I have some higher capacity flash drives now. Mm-hmm. There used to be a Roswell one that we've used a few times, but that was USB 2. That was so long ago.
I used the USB 3 one that was Roswell.
That Vantech's nice.
It was so the RX 358.
Okay.
This is one of the first videos I ever did back in like 2011, 2012, which was this little hard drive enclosure.
It's USB 3?
It was defective.
Okay.
It didn't work. It wouldn't connect to my computer. I'd have the whole thing plugged in and it just wouldn't recognize. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. But it has 4 out of 5 stars on Newegg, 1,300 reviews, so I probably just got a dud. Okay. Obviously, all enclosures and things like that are susceptible to defectiveness.
People are asking me inappropriate questions today.
Really? I don't know, you got a target on your head or something.
I don't know. I mean, they're not...
But going back to what you said, Vantech's also a really good brand. I will stand up for Vantech.
Yeah, I actually do have a Vantech.
Had good things from them.
Drive with a 2 terabyte WD green in it. It's USB 3, nice. And that is a good one. IC dock.
I have an IC dock one, and it's been more reliable than the Roswell one for me. So.
IC dock, I've known at least back when I was looking at these more closely, because you know all these drives have, or all these drive enclosures have an interface with SATA, and then they have a chip on there, and not all those chips are created equally. And IC dock is known to have one that just gives you a nice clean connection that doesn't limit your speeds at all. Okay.
Yep.
If a boy computer and a girl computer made a baby computer, what would it look like? This is from Samuel, a.k.a. Ginger Canuck.
It would either look like a boy computer,
I think it looked like a Brix. Or a Nook.
Or Nook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Nook. And it would grow into a Brix.
And then it would grow into a Brix in adolescence.
In its teen angst phase. And then eventually grow up into a humble, well-behaved desktop. Oh.
That's such the story of life.
Yes.
Circle of life continues. All right, Carlo Gutia asks, I have a Z97 motherboard. I am not in a rush for a new PC, so should I wait for Broadwell M390X or build now? If you have a Z97 motherboard right now, then you probably have a Haswell or Haswell Refresh chip or a Devil's Canyon on there.
Yeah.
You're cool. You're good for now. Don't, yeah.
Especially if you're not in a rush.
Especially if you're not in a rush, I'd say you're fine for now. The next platform that I would look at if I was you as far as upgrades go would be either Skylake, and that's not probably coming out till Q3 or Q4 this year.
Yeah.
Or maybe X99 if you really feel like you need more power or you're doing more stuff beyond just gaming. Yeah, the Broadwell, from what I understand as far as Broadwell goes, like CPU launch wise, there's not going to be a whole lot to get excited about on the desktop side for Broadwell. We're mostly going to be looking forward to Skylake. There will be a few Broadwell chips that might be useful for a few people, but from what I understand, it's not even something that Intel is really giving a big push for. The Haswell refresh, which happened last year in June, and the Devil's Canyon stuff that came out, really kind of overlapped a lot of the Broadwell stuff, and then they got far enough along with Skylake that they were like, well, we don't really need to do much with Broadwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 390X, hopefully those should be soon too. We're really expecting those to be Computex releases.
Right.
Dean Smiley asks, will we be coming to the UK anytime? I would love to go to the UK.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No, there's no plans to. I'd really love to go there. I've only been to Europe once.
Me too.
That was to Italy, and I didn't get much chance to go around anywhere else in Europe.
Yeah.
I was there for a wedding. I do want to do more travel in Europe. I've done a lot of travel in Asia in the past few years.
Yep.
Especially working tech, that's like...
It's where it's at.
Yeah, that kind of comes into play. And these Computex trips I've done, I've been doing kind of other trips to other places in Asia alongside that. But yeah, I want to do a little bit more travel to Europe because that's an area I have not explored. And I love travel. Freak Labs, FRAQ Labs, asks, where do I get my glasses?
Okay.
These are
eyeglasses or these glasses?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know.
My glasses are Ray-Bans, and I got them from my eye doctor.
I got these from my eye doctor. They're not any kind of name designer, so they're just regular.
These glasses, this glass at least, is a Tech Syndicate glass, and you can buy them from Tech Syndicate store, which is epicpants.com.
Yep. Or this Sierra Nevada glass, which
but
you
don't
probably
don't buy a pint glass right now. Don't. If you're in the market for a pint glass, you should wait a couple weeks, and then I might have another option for you. Speaking of UK, maybe even an English pint glass, which gives you more beer, because it's 20 ounces instead of 16. Okay.
I got a question from I Burley. He asks, in the vein of Pimp My PC, what micro ATX cases would you recommend? Preferably budget oriented. Honestly, I say out of the three, like mini ATX, micro ATX, and full ATX, micro ATX cases are probably the least one I deal with on a regular basis. But one that I have worked with in the past that I really enjoyed was the I think it was the TJ08.
Okay.
From Silverstone, and that was a really nice case. The TJ08-B, I believe. It was actually a system that I had built from my fiance's brother-in-law. Her cousin was getting married, and we needed a wedding shower gift. And I was like, and I remember talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, my computer's just so slow. I can't even like pay my bills online because like my browser and stuff. There's all this malware in it and stuff." So I was like, "I'm gonna build him a PC." This is like about a year after I got the job at Newegg, back in 2012, and I picked out a micro ATX board and the TJ08. And I remember building it and it was like literally probably the second or third system I'd ever built. And I remember even for being the noob that I was back then, it was still a really easy build for being such a small form factor case. And really good airflow. It's kind of like got that weird orientation where the motherboard's actually upside down.
Okay.
And so your video card's on top of your CPU. and it's got like a separate compartment up top for the power supply, which makes it a little bit top heavy, but it's short enough to not matter too much. But all in all, a really great micro ATX build. I love Silverstone. I love their quality. I love their design. They have a lot of good patents and stuff, so that'd be my recommendation.
The cases I've used recently in micro ATX, and you mentioned budget. I was going to say Note 804 is one that jumps to mind. That's what my HTPC is in. That's a little bit more expensive though. It's over $100.
Right.
The Cooler Master Silencio 352 is one that I have actually worked with recently. It's going to be $60 to $70 depending where you get it and whether or not you can get a mail-in rebate.
Yeah.
But I feel like you get a lot of case for that much, for $60 or $70 if you're looking for micro ATX.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking full-size ATX, there's more competition in that range. But I like that it's kind of got everything you need: a good finish, Cooler Master, and it's silent. It's got like extra padding on the sides and everything like that. So
right.
I enjoyed that case. Granted, it is still a budget case, so it's got some shortcomings.
Yeah.
N200 is another good one that's been suggested quite a few times.
Right.
But yeah, and I see some other Note 804 recommendations in chat, but yeah, that's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's wait. I had another question over here. My SLI Asus GTX 780 DirectCU2s, which are OC'd to 1,250 megahertz, are running at 79 degrees at full load. Is that safe? Yes, that is absolutely perfectly safe. In fact, all of those GPUs are designed to run at 80 degrees. Now, granted, you have some Asus DirectCU2s, but the fact that they're an SLI and overclocked is reason enough for them to be at about 79 degrees. If you're going much over that, like if you actually pop up GPU-Z and like set all the values, all the monitoring values to max and play games for a while, see if it's going up beyond that, and then maybe even run Asus, what is their GPU Tweak, or MSI Afterburner, or EVGA Precision X. Run one of those and see if it's throttling the actual frequency. Because that's really the only time you need to start being concerned, is when it's affecting your performance.
Yeah. And
if it's causing your frequency to dip down under load because the temperature is getting too high, which those cards will do, that's when you might think, okay, maybe I should take another look at your cable management. Maybe like try to clear those out to get more direct airflow into those two graphics cards.
Right.
I don't know what case you have, but if you have a side intake that can blow air directly onto those, or a bottom intake right in front of your power supply, it's a great way to get some extra air up to the graphics card.
Or even set up like a fan curve. Find a good software for a fan curve, and that could really help with your thermals, as long as you're operating within a comfortable acoustic range that you're okay with. Fan curves are really useful for that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Cell processing, our buddy who we played GTA 5 with, says, was the NVIDIA Shield console supposed to be out today? Was it?
Both Paul and I were researching articles all day today on various websites.
It seemed like a pretty slow news day today.
We didn't see anything about that. So.
And I feel like we would have spotted that. So if it was originally scheduled for today, maybe it's been pushed back.
Right.
Or maybe later this week.
Or we'll have to talk about it next week on Tuesday.
All right.
Andrew asked, on a scale of sandpaper to heavenly clouds, how soft are your shirts at your stores? To both of us.
Oh, they're heavenly clouds all the way.
They are heavenly clouds. This is like this is like my favorite shirt that I own right now. Not just because of the awesome design. I mean, don't get me wrong. But just because it's super comfortable. All the shirts that we get from our guy, which is the same person that Logan from Tech Syndicate goes through, just super, super, super high quality shirts. Like honestly, like will last you a long, like years and years and years.
The cool thing about them, like for one, like this is one of the shirts that he did. People give me a hard time sometimes because I don't always wear my shirts. And I'll be honest, my shirts have my face on them as part of the logo, and every once in a while I'm like, I feel weird wearing a shirt with my face on it.
Narcissistic bastard.
Like I'm cool with it, but I don't wear them all the time. Right. So like I wear these shirts and I feel like I'm still wearing one of my shirts because they come from the same place.
Yeah.
And they're so very soft.
They are.
And also the dye he uses is not it's not like thick dye. It's dye that kind of sets into the fabric and then it still breathes.
Yeah.
So it's not as like vivid, but it's a little bit more of like a distressed look. Like this shirt's been washed a few times, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't get like Kyle's shirt, for example. I'm gonna touch Kyle's chest. If I had a normal logo like this right in the center with your typical t-shirt pressing onto there, like it'd be all sweaty because it wouldn't breathe. Right?
That's true.
It's like having a big non-breathing sticky thing right there.
Right.
But that's not the case with these shirts.
Right. And also, for the many of you that are in chat that actually purchased an Awesome Sauce shirt tonight, first off, thank you. And I just wanted to let you know, when you get your shirt, don't put it in the dryer. Hang dry it, because it'll actually make the design last a lot longer.
Oh.
And this is true with a lot of like high quality shirts. If you spend more than like 40, 50 bucks on a shirt or even a pair of jeans, don't, like, the dryer is like the death. It's like the death pit of clothes. I've learned this from my fiance. She told me, it's like, just hang dry all the shirts and clothes that you care about. And they've lasted so much longer. Like, that's why that looks faded, because you probably throw it on the dryer all the time. And the heat over time wears out the actual color and whatnot. So I've been hang drying this ever since I got it, and I would highly suggest you do the same.
How many times have you worn that so far?
Just twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. By the way, I have one for you. I forgot to bring it today.
Yay.
You get a free one. Paul special, he gets a free one.
Yay, free shirt.
All of you guys have to pay for one.
Okay. Well, it is now 8 o'clock, and I'm out of beer.
Yes.
And we are supposed to have an after party at some point this evening. So this is the time when we end the show, and we say a huge thank you to all of you guys who have come out and watched our show.
Yep, we appreciate it.
We are like so incredibly flattered and happy every time you guys join us.
Yes, we are.
So thank you all so much. If you're watching the re-uploads and you didn't watch Kyle's half, go ahead and check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to either of our YouTube channels. Don't forget to go to we have already talked enough about our shirts. You can buy shirts on our stores.
Yep.
And we'll be back again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time.
12 a.m. UDT.
12:30 a.m. UDT.
12:30.
On Wednesday.
Yep.
Just
we've all been
not
there.
Confusing at all. And yeah, that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and TW says we hit 314 today.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Heyo.
High five there. All
Thanks
right.
for that. All right, we'll see you guys in the after party if you're down.
After parties, by the way, follow us on Twitter if you're not already. I'll be on twitch.tv/Paul'sHardware, and Kyle will be on twitch.tv/AwesomeSauceNews.
Network.
Network. God.
Come on!
And as I was saying that, I was like, I'm going to say
close.
this right this time. I was like, I'm going to say this right.
I could sense it. I was like, oh, Paul's really confident about this time.
Awesome Sauce Network.
Totally butchered it. Awesome Sauce time.
All right, thanks for watching, guys.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Later.